great to see everybody joining us. And as you can see, our panelists, great lineup today, focused on sustainability. Phil Chopping, Phil Gilbert, and Sam Smith, who we will come to very shortly. So a huge thank you, as always, to our corporate partners, BASF, BMS, CAPS, Copart, Emacs, Integral, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Mercer, Nationwide Vehicle Recovery Assistance, S&G Response, and Sherwin-Williams Automotive Finishes, as well as our partners, Aztec, the Green Parts Specialist, Indasa, Presco UK, and the Innovation Group. Disclaimer before we get going, so the views and opinions expressed during the following webinar are those of the individual contributors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the contributor's employer, organisation, committee, or other group or individual. Please respect any or all contributions, and we encourage you to join the conversation via the interactive functions available. So there we have it, Phil Chopping, Director at Whaley Bridge ARC, and brings with it a very interesting stance, the first, I think, we'll come to that, but PAS 2060, carbon neutral accredited repair in the UK, as I understand it. Phil Gilbert, a millennial on the call, body shop manager, Parkway Prestige, and by his own admittance, needs a haircut, but we'll come on to that as well. And we've got Sam Smith, Director, Fix Auto Multi-Sites. You may have seen the news this morning, just recently opened up a multi-million-pound new site there in Leeds. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. Now, I've given you a little bit of an intro, but obviously that's the light-hearted one. But I'll let come around to each of you, and if you can just apply a little bit of context in terms of who you are and your business currently. So, if I can come to you first, Sam.
Yeah. So I look after Fix Auto Leeds North and South. The new site's Leeds North. We also have Fix Auto Keighley and Fix Auto Bradford. Been Fix Auto for many years. We were one of the first 10 in the first 10 sites, so we've been there for a long time. And we also run a 24-hour recovery business that also covers the Leeds and Bradford area.
Well, a busy man at the moment, and yeah, I'm sure you'll tell us more about how you're kind of breathing a bit of a sigh of relief now the new site's finished. Phil Gilbert, we'll come across to you.
Yeah, Phil Gilbert, man with a haircut that's in desperate need, I believe. Yeah, we're a multi-VM prestigious body shop in Manchester, VW, Audi, Mercedes, Volvo, and now Tesla. So I'm the body shop manager here, day-to-day running of the body shop, just making sure all the lads are in order, really.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Phil. And slightly envious of the haircut, but that's another story. Phil Chopping, over to you. You've been a busy man today as well.
I have, yeah. A single parent of 3 kids. 2 body shops in the South Manchester area, British Standard accredited, and several manufacturer approvals. And taking the plunge to be the first carbon neutral body shop in the country.
Excellent stuff. So 3 very different businesses looking at the industry from very different perspectives. So we will come on to all of that very shortly. But I would just want to jump across, as we usually do, just to kind of share the latest insights from across the industry. So the CAPS claims analysis report for week ending Friday last week, 20th of Feb. You can see there lockdown period 3 continues to fluctuate. So off the back of a kind of 10%, 9% increase previous week, it then dropped down 8% respectively last week. So we'll see where this week takes us. The Apple Mobility Trends report, and again, kind of the signs are good there, really. Everything on the upward trajectory there, driving down 25% on their baseline. So you can just see the visual there. The Google COVID-19 Community Mobility Report, the figures in the left-hand corner as I look at the screen, that's 2 weeks ago. So you can see retail, recreation, public transport, not significant changes, but there is a big change taking place in the workplace travel at the moment. So that's an interesting one to come up there. And this is for Greater London, by the way. Greater Manchester, again, a similar theme, not a huge, great deal of change in terms of the first 2, but workplaces, again, there seems to be a lot more activity there. The TomTom live traffic, and again, randomly selected, so nothing kind of, significant in terms of Bristol, but if you look at the trend there, we can see that the peak rush hours, if you like, have really flattened out in Bristol. Anyone in Bristol, again, want to share your thoughts on why that might be, etc. at the moment? Well, obviously people working from home, but if there's anything else, but compared to Birmingham, you can start to see that there's an uplift again in terms of those peaks and troughs in terms of timings. Okay, so that was a brief whistle-stop tour, wasn't it? But so from your own perspective, Sam, it's kind of a very exciting time for you in terms of the last few weeks. Put the finishing touches on the new site, which has been well documented. You joined us in September last year on the webinar to kind of give us a little insight into that, and then we've recorded a podcast subsequently. But so how's business been since the start of 2021 for yourself, and what have been the opportunities and challenges, dare I ask?
Yeah, well, we've been really lucky, exceptionally lucky. We've been really busy since really beginning to end of August, and the third lockdown has just got even busier. We have taken on a little bit more work, but in our 24-hour recovery set department, we haven't taken on any more work, and we're about 25 to 30% busier. And so these are just breakdowns. These are cars that are breaking down. So there must be more people on the road for that to be happening. And we can't really fathom as to why that is, but it just seems to have got busier. The big challenges for us is getting the site, now the site has come to completion and we finished it, was getting the existing site moved over. Because I don't know if people probably won't know, we already do have another site in Leeds, but we rent that site. So we're moving from that site to this site. So we do end up with the two sites, another one we already had running. So moving from one to the other meant that we had to reduce the amount of work we were putting through the shop, which again was a bit of a challenge, especially when it was really busy. So we've got through that now, the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're able to now move forward and start to get through that work and get back to some sort of normality and a bit less stress for us, because the site is now up and running. Things have moved over, which is a much nicer place to be. You just want now to be the next few months be nice and boring, and we just carry on as without all the disruption of the last 12 months.
Nice and boring. Now there's a term that we never thought we'd kind of use, but yeah, understandable, and fully appreciate that. And we will hopefully we've got a little VT that will run of a time lapse of the new site going up to give people a kind of an impression of the context there. Phil Gilbert, come across to you. So, business since the start of 2021 and how's the world look from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, business is good in the grand scheme of things. It's hard to say, really. Obviously, we had a dip in 2020 like most people, but 2021 started on good stead. Like I mentioned earlier, we've took on another VM approval, which is Tesla, which we worked incredibly hard for probably the last 2 years, really. So it's coming in good timing for us. And yeah, that seems to have keeping us a lot more busier anyway. Challenges, really. I mean, we were doing a lot of dealership work, especially for Volvo and Audi as well. With the online sales now, we're finding that the sales prep work has sort of dropped off, mainly because of the fact that customers aren't going to the site, viewing the cars and going, there's a little scuff on the bumper or door edges need blowing in. So in terms of that work, that certainly dropped off, which we sort of analysed and expected anyway. We promoted ourselves a lot more on social media, just to keep our name going around the place. Instagram, LinkedIn. And yeah, we seem to have got a lot of work from Instagram. We joined it's called Supercar Society, and obviously we are a prestigious body shop. So they've sort of promoted our work to a lot of people that have supercars. That drummed up a lot of business for us as well. So overall, yeah, we're doing okay, which we're massively thankful for. Really
interesting how you've moved the business along there and explored different avenues of opportunity. So great stuff there, Phil. And we'll lightly touch upon the Tesla approval. 2 years in the making, you mentioned there. So
yeah.
So that's quite something. And Phil, chopping from where you sit, again, just give us a little bit of context how the sort of year has started.
The year started really well compared to last year. Obviously, with the initial lockdown, it changed how we did everything. We went from running 2 sites to amalgamating to one because the volumes were obviously down. What we have seen is a big increase in retail claims. Joe Public coming through the door. We've had quite an intense social media campaign on LinkedIn. Facebook, Instagram, the whole lot, and that seems to be driving more work to us, which is good. And it's given us a chance to sit back and reflect a bit on what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And that's led us to where we are now. We've had quite a lot of capital expenditure as well, because obviously during the lockdown of last year, there was very few lease deals. Predominantly people just weren't doing it. So we've spent a load of money on cars, which is one thing we didn't really need to be doing, but in the long term, it'll probably benefit us. But yeah, we're seeing the claims dwindling a bit now, but it's only to be expected. If people aren't driving, we should soon be out of this, and hopefully we can push on again.
Again, really interesting thoughts there in terms of how you've reshuffled the pack as well, and what you've done there. You know, the social media theme again, is that something? Is the retail kind of work again? Is that something else that we've struck upon? Arguably by default, we've been forced into it than design, but it's interesting stuff. So just very quickly, whilst we're sort of talking about 2021, and again, we just like to gauge the state of the industry. So we'll just fire the question out there. It's the one we always ask: what level of claims repair volumes are you currently operating at? You can see 100%, 80 to 100. By the way, all of this is anonymous. We won't know what anyone is, how anyone's cast their vote. Interestingly, just looking at the chat there, Sam as well, Jeff Mack of Nationwide Vehicle Recovery Assistance, busier too on recovery. So yeah, it's an interesting bit there. It is,
yeah. We'd like to know the reasons why, wouldn't we, really?
No, absolutely. We'll have to all get our research hats on for that one. So just keep those votes coming in. We'll give it another 10 seconds or so, and we'll see where we are there. Okay, let's have a quick look. So share the results there. So what level of claims repair volumes are currently operating at? 60 to 80% and 40 to 60. So 60% you would kind of argue is the case there. So that's interesting. 80 to 100%, 24%, and then a few below there as well. So interesting stuff, and we can take whatever lessons we can from that. And just very briefly, changes in volume. So again, the question we often ask: have you experienced changing claims volumes during the past few weeks? So we gauge that on a bi-weekly basis. Again, it just gives an indicator in terms of what's happening. And we'll let the votes come in there. All right. Let's share the results there. So slight decrease 38%, remains static 21, slight increase, which is the good news, 21, significant increase 3%, and significant decrease 18%. Okay. Great stuff. Right, let's move the conversation on. So in recent webinars, we've kind of discussed people, finances, technology, amongst a whole host of other things, all of which are kind of part of this sustainability jigsaw. Most people look at sustainability, think environmental, but it's the whole piece, really. So what would you class as your kind of key sustainability drivers right now in the business, and why? And Sam, a lot of people are probably saying to themselves, why would you ever build a brand new multi-million-pound body shop right now?
Why?
Take it away.
Great question. Why would you do it? I think we actually wanted to move and build this site because we needed the space for the capacity. This was pre-COVID, so it's a slightly different world. We could have made the decision to stop building the site, but we thought we'd carry on with it because it would mean getting builders back and everything else. And it's quite a big site, it's quite a big project, and it's not something that would be easy to switch on and switch off. So we went ahead anyway. We were kind of safe with the decision because where we're at in Leeds, the property itself it's probably going to gain more value, the money being in this property, than it would be it definitely in the bank account these days. So where it's at in the location, I mean, just behind there, you see in the picture, that's actually Headingley, and then we've actually got Yorkshire TV just to the right, and then further to the right of that, we have a whole new set of buildings just out here being redeveloped as flats. So we've been lucky with this. We've got it at the right place at the right time. So there's a lot of value in the building itself, as an investment. We're even looking at what we're utilising it for. But of course, we can utilise it for the capacity that we so desperately needed in our area. And that's what we're doing now. And on the back of it, knowing how expensive in terms of time and cost it is to do something like this, we're sort of looking now at doing a later night shift to try and utilise that space as much as possible and that investment as much as possible, because it is so expensive to do. We couldn't do another one of these anytime soon. It's just so expensive. But if we can utilise that space over a longer time period, then that's better. And we're not talking about making people work longer. We don't want that. I personally don't think that works. We want people to work, sensible hours, and then let's see if it works with somebody else at a different shift at a different time of the day, because some people do want to work different shift patterns. We do 24-hour recovery. We're well used to people working different shift patterns, and we know that certain shift patterns actually work better with certain people. So we're looking to do that, and hopefully starting that around the first week of April. We're getting some people lined up for that now.
So that in itself, the build, it kind of creates further opportunities for you as a business to tweak, play with the model that you've kind of currently got. Really. Yeah. There are so many things. Sustainability, we could talk about loads of things, couldn't we? I'm just picking on capacity because it's right in front of us right now, and that's one of the things we're trying to make the business sustainable to get through the volumes quickly enough. It's not just about coping with the volumes; it's about getting through the volume of it quickly. We don't want loads of cars in the car park. We want to look out there and see there's only the cars in the car park that are coming in today, and the cars that are going back, and that's all we want. So we feel there's an optimum size for a site, and I think this is the biggest that we would want for our model. And we'll just keep it really, really simple. It's literally a rectangle. I mean, the way we did this was so that the body shop manager could actually sit, see the shop, turn around, see the consumables, turn around, see the reception area, and you can watch the whole thing from that one place. So it really is distilled simplicity in terms of a body shop. Hey, I can see Phil Gilbert rubbing his hands together, thinking that's the kind of job. He could have a pivot chair and just sit in the middle. So Phil, I mean, I come across to you. You've mentioned, I referenced you as a millennial body shop manager. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but you are. And recent Tesla approval, kind of thing. Talk us a little bit about those. What that means for the business and yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. The managing director, Dave Gage, is always keen on upholding the vehicle manufacturer approvals, certainly going down that route. We've been Audi, VW approved for a number of years now, which is an excellent programme, to be fair. And recently Volvo as well, probably the last 5 years. Steve Plunkett, he's done a brilliant job there. And then we decided, let's go down the Tesla route. It's certainly the future in electric cars. We're seeing more and more of them dotted around Manchester. I don't know about everyone else, but there's a lot of them around here now. So we thought, look, let's get in there where it's good. So yeah, we approached Tesla. We were told that the aspects of what we need, training, which is held in Holland, Tilburg. So we had to obviously look at that, the transport of getting our staff there. Obviously this was pre-COVID. When COVID happened, it was more of an annoyance to us because of the logistics of getting our staff over there, training being postponed, which then obviously the level of investment we'll put in, it's then delaying the approval. Work providers were ringing up daily at one point, we've got this Tesla approval, can we send you this work? And it's hard to turn down work, but if we're not trained, especially with these cars now, we can't take the work. So we needed it, and now it's came. But yeah, the training was probably the hardest challenge in getting it. The tooling, that was relatively easy because we spoke to Jason, who runs the program. He was really helpful in what tooling we needed, when we needed it by, and sort of budgeted for it every month. But yes, it's early indications. Tesla is really good for us. We've only been approved for a matter of weeks now, and we're already coming through the door. So yeah, we're made up with it really, and everything's going well.
That's great, and good on you guys for doing that. And Dave and Jill there, I know them both, and hats off for continuing to push the boundaries. And from your perspective, I mean, were you you personally, were you kind of thinking Tesla is the way to go and kind of giving those guys the nudge? Were you heavily involved?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I see them all on the road all the time. A lot of people ask the question. I don't think Teslas can crash, but yeah, they can. So yeah, I saw them across the road, and I thought, yeah, I know the labour rate's quite high because of obviously the level of training and investment you have to put in. So as a business model, it makes financial sense to certainly go down that route. So especially with Dave, he was singing the praises of it also. I thought, well, why not? If he's enthusiastic about it, then let's go for it. So we did.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Phil. And Phil Chopping. So, from your perspective, the first or one of the first in the UK to gain this kind of PAS 2060 accreditation for carbon neutrality. Now, this is a thing that I see is kind of, more and more of at the moment, and some people doing some great stuff on this. But, talk us through that. Why would an independent kind of body shop go that route, I suppose?
Well, there's a number of reasons. Primarily, we're all on the planet and we all need to look after it going forward. Father of three, you want to give them something tomorrow. You want to protect what we have and make it better for tomorrow, all being well. I've just saw it as a good differentiator as well, being carbon neutral, ahead of the curve a bit. We want to work with like-minded companies who see the value of protecting where we are, because if we don't protect what we've got, there's not going to be a decent tomorrow for any of us. And it goes hand in hand with what we do. We embrace technology. Over the years, we've been the first to get the new technology, new training, and it seemed a natural progression of that, to be honest. I think it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, good on you. Cannot argue that bit at all, and hats off to you for doing it. Now, and in terms of kind of what it's done for the business, has it reflected better than you ever thought it possibly could do to the outside world?
It's early days yet. It's changed by definition of looking at your carbon footprint and reducing it. You're going to save money, but that will come with some fairly heavy capital expenditure going forwards. You've got to get the new machinery, new working systems in place to help you reduce that carbon footprint. It's a natural progression as I see it.
Yeah, and work partners been great support there, or how's that kind of, what's their opinions or thoughts been on it?
There's been a lot of talk, but not a great buy-in yet, because I think it is a fairly new concept to them. But we have had some good feedback from local fleets who want to work with us. Sky have been in touch with us, local councils who have got to be seen to be doing the right thing. They've been in touch with us, and some fairly big fleets, sort of 200 vehicles as well. We've been talking to them and getting their vehicles on side and dealing with them.
Fantastic stuff. And increasingly, as I say, I think everyone's becoming, increasingly aware of this. So it's a great thing, and what a real positive step for yourselves and the industry as a whole. Long may it continue, and may there be much more uptake of it. Okay, so how else, and Sam, I'll come to you on this one, but how else have you adapted / improved business to make it more sustainable over the years? And what has been or are the benefits of what you've done? Have you remodeled things? You're looking more kind of, we spoke previously and we were talking about people, we were talking about processes is obviously a major part of what you do there. Technology, what kind of areas have you really focused on?
Yeah, I think it's process and people really, and the thing that we really want to, we have focused on a lot of is making sure that we look after our people, and we really started pushing the communication with them as well. So we've got a really good one-to-one process in place. I was never really massive. We never did this a lot in the past, and it's something we're doing a lot more of now, and it really is helping us be more sustainable in the staff that we've got, in retaining staff, in making sure that the people that are bringing on as new apprentices, that they're engaged with the work as well. Having that one-to-one with the body shop manager and with their team, and then us with the management team as well, just helps so much. We expect people to tell us everything all the time, and we're too busy sometimes doing other things, and we're not asking the members of the, we're not asking the team what's bothering them, or what they like about what they do. because if they've got a plan of how they're developing and how they're going forward, it's just so much more fun for them. We want it to be fun to come to work. We want it to be able to come to work and you enjoy doing it. And we really want to start having a training plan for everybody. It doesn't matter what you're doing, and we're doing valid. Is there a development plan for you? Do you want to do something else? Are you happy where you are? Which is also absolutely fine. Those things really help us, and still are helping us. We've still got a way to go with doing that and improving that. That's really helped us from a sustainability point of view, and looking after the staff and looking after the team.
And that's a very, had a conversation with somebody the other day about that very thing, in terms of, creating that career pathway, regardless of what, level you enter the business at or are currently in the business at.
I mean, what we're trying to do now is like with technology as well, with software that we're doing and that we use in writing. One thing that would be really nice to do, everybody's got a tablet, everybody can log on in the morning. Wouldn't it be great if they could actually see their current level of where they're at in terms of what their qualifications are and what they've done, what they've achieved, where they are, and just have that there and reflect back on the work that they've done that's been a great repair. We do this thing where we go, if it's a great repair, we flag the images so we can share that with other people about, well done. It's a great piece of craft work, and we should share that, and you should be proud that you've done a good job.
Absolutely, focusing on the positive. We like that a lot. And Phil Gilbert, so I mean, from where you sit, again, what are your kind of, what has been the focus? I know Dave and Jill have, kind of given you lots of support in terms of your role and backed you. So from where you sit, how does the world look in terms of that long-term sort of sustainability over the years and where the focus is?
Yeah, massively. I can't thank them enough for the help that they've given me. I mean, going back a couple of years ago, like Phil's done as well at his centre, we went with solar panels just to, cut the cost of energy down. But not only that, it's to help the environment as well. But yeah, we've done charging points on the front just for, customers with their electric cars to come down, charge their vehicles while they're on site, have a coffee, have a quick chat with us. Obviously, with COVID, that's been a little bit restricted. With paint supply, we've got, we need to have talks with Gavin Townsend at Glasurit about the eco balance as well. We really want to bring that in with on site with us. Again, like the Volvo approval, Steve Plunkett, he's done a great job there. He calls me up all the time, with advice of saying, get onto social media, really promote this. Not even for the Volvo thing, just personal side of it. He's really good with it. But yeah, again, with apprentices, we've got one in the panel and one in paint. They're coming on leaps and bounds. Paint's pretty much finished his college course now. He's going to have to do that remotely, the latter end of it, which he is doing. And yeah, overall, we do personal development plans with all our staff. Also make sure that they are happy with what we're doing in terms of running the business, making sure that we're not doing anything wrong, make sure they've got the right equipment to do the job in the first place. Is certainly the way to go. But yeah, overall, yeah, we're doing a good job.
You certainly sound like you are. That's for sure. No, some great stuff going on there, and really good initiatives. And it's that all-round package. As Sam said, we could probably talk about an individual aspect of sustainability for a complete webinar or two. But so we are skimming across this. But yeah, the solar panels, the kind of support from the leadership. Great thing is, the apprentices in the business, the feedback mechanism as well, because I think that's massively important. What can we do as a leadership team to make your lives better, keep improving? So great stuff there. And Phil, chopping kind of, the same from your side of point of view. You've obviously gone the sort of carbon neutral route, but, within the business as well, what about the people and the general kind of sustainability in terms of what you're working on there?
Well, that's been ongoing over the years. I mean, as body shops, we're very good at measuring everything: cycle times, key-to-key times, parts-to-labour ratios. Carbon emissions is another one of those that we need to measure, look at and address. We can affect that by several easy wins: front of house staff changing to a paperless environment, planning the routes for collection deliveries for the drivers more sensibly. A couple of minutes in the morning can save you a couple of hours during the day for your operatives. Technicians embracing new technologies, UV curing, this, that and the other, to reduce our energy consumption. and make the business more sustainable in the future going forward. Parts, we ask our parts suppliers, bring us all the stuff at once. Don't bring us one order in 5 different deliveries. Makes no sense. We can't do the job until we've got all the bits, and you're running your vans around for no reason.
That's very interesting, really interesting. And does that stem from the carbon reduction perspective, or is it just does it all just make business sense anyway, regardless of what angle you approach it at from, I suppose?
Well, by reducing your carbon footprint, you will reduce your running costs by virtue of how it goes hand in hand with each other. And we want to work with people who are of a carbon neutral footprint, because then that enhances our proposition and reduces our carbon footprint, and eventually hopefully gets us to net zero by 2030.
Great. And is that the aim for yourselves, where you personally want to be as a business, or will it be?
Yeah, I think that's if it's good enough for Google, it's good enough for us. By 2030, it's 20 years ahead of where the government thinks we should be, and it's an 80% reduction in where we are now. So I'm hoping that that's realistic, and we'll keep working at it. I mean, we've got the past 2060. That's just the start. The hard bit is now to keep reducing it year on year on year on, and get to net zero.
Fantastic. And I think that's the interesting thing with all of this conversation. We talk sustainability. It's forever moving. It doesn't stand still, does it? There is kind of no end goal point or destination, if you like. It's a continuing evolution. So, a year on from now, we'll probably be talking about, similar things, but yeah, they've moved on since the last conversation. So what makes, Sam, I'll come to you as well. I mean, this may be an obvious answer, I don't know, but what makes the business more sustainable today than it was yesterday for yourself?
I think what's happened, and this has been something that's been pushed because of the COVID and that event, is that we've all embraced this technology, video calling, Zoom, and working on the internet, and the phone system being on the internet. We've never really before been able to meet with all the site managers like we do now every Monday morning at 10 o'clock. You couldn't do that. You'd have to stick everybody in cars and send them to a hotel somewhere. We'd have to meet there, and that's how we would do our group meetings. We don't have to do that now. So you can go, even you can have like a head of a department if they need to, like our engineering team need to talk to the different sites. That's great. You can just dial everybody in. It drops into their calendar, all web-based, and you can just click and join. There's no software to install. So I quite like the way it's been kept really simple so that anybody can do it, and super flexible. And like people in our accounts now, and some people are working from home that will stay working from home. They've no need to come into a site anymore except to meet people for the normal human social need of meeting up with people that we still do need to do. So that's made a huge difference. That's made those things so much more efficient, so much easier to do. People are encouraged more to communicate. Everybody's reachable, even if it's through just a chat window now. You could actually talk to one of our techs, any of our sites, from a chat window. Anybody who works in any department can do that. And you can actually click a button and hold a video call if you need to, which we're trying to utilize in engineering, to helping people go around vehicles. Because again, like we're doing with this meeting, you're recording it. So you can go around that job with a parts department or an engineer that's not in the same building, go around the entire car, talk to the guy on the shop floor with a really cheap Bluetooth earpiece. And then with that recording, that engineer or that parts guy can just refer back to that video and place that order, do that assessment. So there's loads of cool things that have come out of this.
And a lot of that, again, is really interesting because, it doesn't necessarily directly relate to repairing cars in any way, shape or form. It's just kind of communication. It's more of a business-oriented move.
That's right, it makes it easier.
And Phil, so again, from your perspective, I would ask, what makes Parkway Prestige more sustainable today than it was yesterday?
The investment of ADAS as well. Don't think anyone's touched on that yet. Obviously, we've got the equipment now, so doing that, but not only doing it for us, but we're doing it for a number of body shops around our area as well, helping them out. Obviously, it helps us out, paying off the equipment, which is quite expensive. But yeah, obviously with ADAS, it's in probably most cars now. Is it all cars that are produced from today or from a couple of years ago, really? So making sure that we can do that certainly is sustainable to our business, not subletting it out, then another cost with cash flow. But yeah, definitely the investment in ADAS has massively helped us just for key to key as well, not the fact that we have to ring a company up, tell them to come in, they can't come to us for a couple of days. We can do that in-house. Yeah, it's great for us.
Yeah, keep investing in that business. And again, that is obviously more of a repair, directly repair related investment, sustainability that you've made there. So yeah, different things to businesses at the moment, and it's interesting now, but everyone's kind of touching on these different areas, but yet probably everyone's kind of doing similar type things and looking at similar areas. And Phil, so culture within your business, we kind of obviously talked about the PAS 2060 and the supply chain and how you've kind of evolved there and their uptake or support of it. Now, what about the culture? Is that a big influence in the business? How have you got everyone to kind of buy into it? Has that been a challenge? Has that proved, Yeah,
it's not been a massive challenge to get the staff to buy into it, to be honest. They all see that we've got to do something today to make the business sustainable for tomorrow, and also look after the environment we all live in. So we've got them to buy in by seeing where we are as a carbon footprint, and that, as we reduce it, will make the business more sustainable, makes it more marketable, and it secures their future. And they can be an integral part of that by embracing the change with the new technologies, new working practices, and move the business forward.
And you mentioned at the outset in terms of the business setup, so you kind of cater for a multitude of work streams, really. Do you see any particular kind of, do you think more focus on a certain area? You obviously spoke the retail side of the world, maybe picking up. Is that something that you'll perhaps turn more attention to, with specifically backed by the fact that you are a carbon neutral business?
It's a massive flag to wave to the general public, and they will want to, if you had an opportunity to have your car fixed at a body shop or a carbon neutral body shop, I think the society today will go for the carbon neutral body shop, even if that means I'm paying another £5-10 a year on the premium if they're claiming through the insurance. I think they would go for that because they recognise the importance of looking after where we are. Yeah, I think the world is certainly switching on to it. That's without a doubt. Okay, if there's any questions from the audience, please drop them in the Q&A. I have seen a comment come in, which I'm trying to read as we go, but I'll come back to that in a second. But Sam, if so sustainability, we said it's kind of an ongoing journey rather than any particular endpoint destination. So what would your next focus be? Do you like the sounds of what kind of Phil Chopping's saying about the carbon neutral stuff? Is it, again, investing in different areas within the business specifically? What's your thoughts there?
I think that's all got great value, and looking into all those avenues of the things that promote sustainability from the environmental point. Green parts is a really good one. I think we're just sort of scraping and touching the surface with that. You think about the masses of stock in green parts that we've got out there. It's awful to think we waste these things, and some of the green part suppliers are fantastic at the images they can provide and the information they can provide on those vehicles, and these are all OE parts. All these parts are absolutely fine. They're all in stock, sort of a next day delivery. So I think that is something people will be really keen on looking at. Like Phil was saying, really keen on wanting the carbon neutral site, or the sites that are working towards that. I think that's also going to be a big promotion, sort of the green parts. But I think for us, the real thing for sustainability going forward, because we're mainly insurance work, is making sure that we're as transparent as we can be. We'd love to be in a situation where we share everything that we can with insurers, and we're lucky to have some really good insurers, where we're all on the same side. So we're not doubling up, we're not doing things twice. We're making sure that everybody's confident as to what we're doing and why we're doing it at all stages. And again, it's the technology that lets us do that, and we need to move away from this a bit of a them and us and more. It is a partnership, and that is going to be key to sustainability for us going forward, and making that seen as a unified partnership, as we're all on the same side.
Absolutely key for the industry as a whole, I think. And I think it's we've talked about it being step-by-step process. I think that's one of the things. I don't think all of a sudden we go from A to Z, but we go from A to B and start to kind of peel back the layers perhaps gradually and see where that takes us. similar theme, obviously, Phil Gilbert. I sort of, from where you come from, you don't all of a sudden wake up one morning, should I say, and say, hey, we're going for Tesla approval. It's been a long time in the making. Where do what's the next step for yourself and Parkway Prestige, apart from obviously a haircut for yourself? But
yeah. Firstly, I do have to apologise if anyone heard the fire alarm and someone decides to do a fire drill. So in the future, making sure that's scheduled properly. I was half expecting Fireman Sam to come bursting through, but yeah, I do apologise. But yeah, moving forward in the future, I think there's all sorts of avenues we can look at, potentially, a detailing part of our business, creating a detailing centre, promoting that on social media, even getting involved with wrapping. Again, you're going to have to start training the lads for that, whether they can do it, whether they can't, again. But yeah, it's hard to say, really. It really is. I think we're just going to focus on maintaining the approvals that we've got, and really going strong with Tesla and the rest of the gang that we've got. But yeah, moving forward, again, 2022, maybe looking at detailing, balloting, I would say.
Again, great points, because you're looking at that kind of diversification, not keeping the core business there, but what else can spring off of that, really. And once you're in that realm that you're in, what does my audience want, in essence, off the back of that. So great train of thought. And Phil, what next for Whaley Bridge, really?
Well, we're at carbon neutral at the moment, and obviously the next key point is to get to net zero, as I said earlier, by 2030. That should be there. We've got a whole other load of stuff going on. Get the social media marketing increased, try and find some work partners who see the value of what we're doing, which I think is going to be a natural progression, and invest with us. The body shop numbers are dwindling. We need people to recognise the importance of working with people, and it doesn't come for nothing. We need to be able to invest in this stuff. We need some rates to be looked at so we can actually make it a sustainable model going forward.
Yep. Great message there, Phil. And I'm sure that'll be supported by much of the repair industry out there at the moment. And I think all of this discussion that we've just had, really highlights how progressive the repair industry is at the moment, or has been for years, but certainly at the moment, it's exciting times, and it's great to see investment in all these different areas taking place, and the opportunities that are presenting themselves. So a huge thank you to you guys for joining us today. You got away scot-free. There was no questions came in, so goodness me, people must have really been hanging on your every word. So just before we sign off, a huge thank you once again to our corporate partners, BASF, BMS, CAPS, Copart, Emax, Integral, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Mercer, Nationwide Vehicle Recovery Assistance, S&G Response, and Sherwin-Williams Automotive Finishes, as well to our partners, Aztec, the Green Parts Specialists in DARSA, Presco UK, and the Innovation Group. Now, please do, before you sign off, leave us a message in the chat. Let these guys know your thoughts on today's session. It's always good to hear from you. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, where we have the next webinar. And in the meantime, look out for a podcast from us. Sam, thank you very much indeed for today. Best of luck with, the sort of unfolding, I don't know, unfurling, call it what you like, of the new site.
Thank you.
Hope it all goes accordingly. Phil, thank you very much for joining us today. Phil Gilbert, this is, and the guys at Parkway Prestige for giving you 45 minutes of space, and look forward to seeing you when you've had that haircut, perhaps.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And Phil Chopping, thank you very much indeed for your time. I know you've got a busy household and life at the moment, so really do appreciate it, my friend.
You're welcome, and a big thanks to Dom Napier and all his team at Carbon Neutral Repair for helping us get to where we are today. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. All right, take care, everybody, and we'll catch up with you all soon. See you guys.
Great.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.